Hello, you all buttercups. Welcome back to Wellness Wave Creations here on Facebook or on my YouTube channel. If you're viewing me there, welcome back. And if you're new, then welcome to this space. And today, my thoughts are on oxidation. I am Orshi, your Ayurvedic health counselor, and one of the subject matters that I'm super interested in and speak a lot about is antioxidants and antioxidation, or even you might say anti-aging. Even if it's with grace, we still want to go kind of against that grain of oxidation. So, what I have noticed in the last 10 years is that wherever I have spoken about this subject matter, a lot of people actually are confused. They were not so sure what oxidation really means. So, every time when I ask in a presentation room, you'd be surprised how much of a silence I get. So, I kind of thought today, let's capture a little bit of a nerdy stuff about oxidation. Okay, so without any further ado, let me actually get you a visual on this one of this beautiful apple. What happens when we cut an apple in half? In a few minutes of time, as oxygen from the air starts kind of burning the flesh of the apple away, it is actually turning brown. Now, this process, guys, also happens inside our body. Of course, we don't see that. It is not so visual and maybe out of sight, out of mind. So people actually don't pay as much attention to this process as they should, because this is a natural process of oxidation or rusting or aging. So, how do we go about oxidation? How do we fight it? It's with anti-oxidation, antioxidants. So, let's go talk about this in a little bit of a further detail. But what I do want to tell you is, what are your favorite antioxidants, right? We all have some. Let me just show you a few things. How about some fruits and vegetables, right? That is our first go-to. We want fruits and vegetables. But why do we want them? Because we want them to give us antioxidants to combat this aging process inside the body. But guess what happens, you guys? When fruits, vegetables, or anything that's got antioxidant value is taken away from its source. So, in other words, you take that apple off the tree, you take and pick those berries from the vine, they actually only hold their antioxidant value for about 48 hours. This is why it is so critical to eat not only seasonal but local at the same time, so that you don't want your fruits and vegetables to come afar. The farther it comes from, the more transportation time it goes through. Eventually, those big transport trucks that are bringing those avocados or bringing those fruits and veggies from afar. I'm here in Vancouver area in British Columbia, but imagine we get a lot of stuff, let's say from California, from Mexico, which are beautiful places for the fruits and vegetables to grow when you're there and you're a local in those areas. But when we get these produce up here, by the time all of the transportation and logistics are finalized, and these produce end up in your stores, I tell you, they actually lack electrical charge, or in other words, antioxidants. Now, I want to show you a little bit of a gadget a little gadget, not a little bit of a gadget, a little gadget that I'm using. This is an oxidation reduction potentiometer. It actually has a probe, which right now I don't have with me, but I actually can put this probe into a fruit or a vegetable, like literally shove it in there and measure the millivolts charge, electrical charge that goes through that fruit or vegetable or any other liquid also is measurable with the same principle. So if there is electrical charge or antioxidants go through that tissue, then there will be a negative number that is a millivolts of electrical charge that's going through that system. So when we eat it, we eventually, in essence, gain electrical charge, which is why we want them, which is why we want antioxidants. Now, so for a moment, let's go and see what antioxidant really is. So, have you guys heard of free radical cells? Free radical cells are cells in the body that have lost an electron. So they are kind of lopsided. So when a cell loses an electron, then electrically they're kind of disabled, and this cell wants to steal that electron back from another cell nearby. So when this process keeps happening in an area, then eventually so much of this action is going on that more and more cells lose their electrical charge, and everybody gets a little chaotic in there, and certain things start happening in this area. It loses electrical charge, and then eventually oxidative stress, eventually oxidation, and then eventually inflammatory response happens to this area. And that, my friends, feeds disease. All disease love to be in an oxidated environment. They never like to be in an anti-oxidated environment, which is why we want antioxidants. Back to the same original idea. So even when you hear me talk about water, the same thing happens. Those waters in nature currently 2023 that have that quality of electrical charge or antioxidant value, which shows up as active hydrogen in water, those also are available in nature when we're at source. So when we're at that source, like at the glacier mountains, right there, you will experience that kind of property to water. But as soon as you move water away from that source, it also loses its electrical charge just as much as fruits and vegetables. So as in, we don't live in the Himalayas. I particularly don't. If you are, maybe you can access that kind of water, or maybe you can access fruits and vegetables if you're around areas where there's very lush and abundant agriculture. Like, for example, for us here in British Columbia, a lot of us love the Okanagan Valley, which is just on the other side of the mountains. Beautiful sun, and beautiful fruits and beautiful vegetables every season. So many of us will go to these areas and stash up on our fruits and veggies. But again, only within 48 hours, you guys, you will enjoy the top and maximum value of the antioxidants. Which also reminds me that in my next video, where I will be talking about plant medicine and antioxidation in plants, okay, all of that subject matter we will actually talk in further detail as to why this is really, really important, and why eventually I personally, and many of us, by the way, in Ayurvedic medicine, use essential oils. And as long as your essential oils are pure and organic and therapeutic grade and highly and vigorously tested to make sure that the quality is there, that is because as soon as they harvest plants, they're immediately distilled and bottled into these little medical grade, usually brown, darker bottles, so that it keeps its properties and its antioxidant value or in other words, its frequency at its highest point of value. So therefore, antioxidants, when you hear this, you want to go after anything and everything that is seasonally available to you and that is local enough, close enough to where you are. In the body, now let's talk about a little bit more about oxidative stress. Why is the word oxidative and oxygen something and stress are together? And that is because as much as we are absolutely in need of oxygen to be able to be alive, too much oxygen is just as bad as too little. And so what happens when we get too much oxidation? Then eventually it will be causing a lot of havoc in the body. It will cause inflammatory response as number one, which is the base of almost all diseases. So once again, I wanted to tell you guys about what causes oxidative stress. Let's just say number one is stress. Number one cause of oxidation in the body is stress. Overeating, over-exercising, or any excessive exercising will also cause oxidative stress. Any kind of toxicity, okay, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, or glyphosates, we also call them, on fruits and vegetables also can cause a lot of oxidative stress. In fact, it does cause a lot of oxidative stress. Alcohol, pollution, so environmental factors, and chemicals, like I said, in and around food and in anything else in your household will cause oxidative stress. Sleep deprivation will cause oxidative stress. Just a bad day can cause a lot of oxidative stress. So therefore, antioxidation is critical. So think about it for you. Where do you get the most antioxidants and how do you obtain it? Do you buy fresh? Do you buy local? Do you buy seasonal? Do you buy from the right sources? One of the best things that you can do for yourself is to know your grocer and know your farmers. Know them. See where they source. My in-house functional nutritional therapist, Donna, and I will have another Swiss cheese talk coming up in September. I will post about this on my Facebook page at Wellness Wave Creations. So you can just check that out and follow me there, where Donna and I always talk about this. In fact, she currently sits on BC Board Organics, which is a board who actually decides who can get those labels on their products. So we will be talking about product quality and how to get the maximum value out of your fruits and vegetables and many other substances with antioxidants, so that actually it will make a big difference to your system and you really do combat the oxidation. So just like with our energetic bank account or with our bank account, what is your, credit, debit? Do you have so much oxidative stress and you're not combating it? Or are you having enough antioxidation where you're able to combat the oxidation you're actually experiencing? So this would be the subject matter that I will also take further and into the world of plant medicine in my next video. So remember, antioxidants and antioxidation also means that there's an antioxidant that's able to give an electron to those free radical cells without themselves being electrically challenged. So therefore, we want these antioxidants because we want this tremendous value that they can bring, which is that they are electron donors. And so we love the donors because they are themselves not going to cause further havoc in the body. So without any further ado, this was about antioxidation and oxidation and how to combat with the underlying principle of getting those things to you that have true electrical charge, measurable in millivolts, so that you actually charge up your system, and that will correlate to frequency, vibration, and energy that you can really cultivate in a very organic way if you pay attention to what you consume and where you source what you consume. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening in today, and I can't wait to see you at the next video about plant medicine and two of my most favorite plant hacks. So tune in there. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much. Namaste.